Elite athletes collapsing during cold weather events shocks everyone. How can peak fitness fail to protect against environmental stress? The tragic reality is that athletic conditioning doesn't confer immunity to cold weather cardiovascular events, and in some ways might create unique vulnerabilities that nobody talks about. Athletes often develop what's called athletic heart syndrome. The heart remodels in response to intense training, enlarging and thickening. This is generally beneficial, but it can mask underlying structural abnormalities. Conditions like hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, where heart muscle is abnormally thick, or long QT syndrome, an electrical abnormality, might hide beneath training-induced changes. These conditions can be fatal when stress is extreme. Resting bradycardia, a slow heart rate common in endurance athletes, might make them more sensitive to cold-induced vasoconstriction. When peripheral blood vessels constrict forcefully, someone with a heart rate of 45 beats per minute might struggle to increase cardiac output adequately, whereas someone with a resting rate of 70 has more reserve. Training depletes glycogen stores and can cause relative dehydration that persists between sessions. Athletes often exist in a state of chronic low-level depletion. In cold weather, these factors combine with winter's dehydration effects and increased metabolic demands of temperature regulation. There's tremendous psychological pressure to maintain performance standards regardless of conditions. Athletes push through discomfort that would make non-athletes stop. They interpret cardiac symptoms as normal training stress. A recreational runner experiencing chest pressure might immediately stop and seek help. An elite athlete might view it as just another barrier to push through. Cold weather events also encourage athletes to maintain summer performance paces despite compromised physiology. Your body simply cannot perform identically in 20-degree weather as it does in 60-degree weather. Blood flow to muscles is reduced due to cold-induced vasoconstriction. Oxygen delivery decreases. But race times and training plans don't adjust for temperature. Undiagnosed conditions are more prevalent than most realize. Comprehensive cardiac screening isn't standard for youth sports in many regions. An athlete might progress through high school, college, and even professional levels without ever having an echocardiogram or exercise stress test that would reveal structural abnormalities. What concerns sports cardiologists most is the clustering of these risk factors during cold weather events. An athlete with undiagnosed long QT syndrome, whose glycogen depleted from yesterday's training, mildly dehydrated, breathing cold air that constricts coronary arteries, pushing maximum effort despite suboptimal conditions, can experience sudden cardiac death. Each individual factor might be manageable. Combined, they create catastrophic failure. Prevention requires multiple interventions. Pre-participation cardiac screening should be comprehensive, including personal and family history, EKG at minimum, and echocardiograms for anyone with concerning findings. This isn't perfect, but it identifies many high-risk individuals. Training modifications for cold weather shouldn't be optional. Intensity should decrease as temperature drops. Specific formulas exist, roughly reducing target pace by 10 to 15 seconds per mile for every 10-degree temperature drop below 50 degrees. This isn't about being soft, it's about acknowledging physiological reality. Hydration protocols need to be as rigorous in winter as summer, maybe more so because athletes don't feel thirsty. Mandatory fluid intake schedules, electrolyte monitoring, and weight checks before and after cold weather training help identify dangerous dehydration. Coaches and team medical staff need education about cold weather-specific warning signs. An athlete showing unusual fatigue, chest discomfort, or coordination problems in cold conditions requires immediate evaluation, not encouragement to push through. Technology helps. Heart rate monitors with alarms for dangerous arrhythmias are increasingly affordable. Wearable ECG devices can detect electrical abnormalities during training. These aren't necessary for all athletes, but for those with any risk factors, they provide valuable real-time monitoring. The broader message is about humility regarding fitness. Being an elite athlete doesn't make you invulnerable to environmental stressors or underlying cardiac conditions. Cold weather is physiologically challenging for everyone, and athletic conditioning, while beneficial in many ways, doesn't eliminate cardiovascular vulnerability to extreme conditions. Respecting those limits might be the difference between a long, successful athletic career and a tragic early death.